Hello and welcome to Geoscope with me, Graham Hughes and Ollie Bowlerhatman. How you doing, Ollie Bowlerhatman?
I'm all right.
Are you okay?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing well,
Yeah.
as they say. So
Yeah.
no, it's interesting day today.
Why is it an interesting day?
Oh,
It's always an
well,
interesting day. When is it not an
most of the
interesting
stuff-
day?
Well, most of the stuff comes down to the stuff on Ukraine. I don't know if you've been following.
Yep. Yep. You see, the problem is, right, I don't want to talk about Donald Trump in Geoscope because we do a show on Monday nights, which I'm just going to rebrand Trump Watch because it's all we talk about for an hour or two. But like, we have to talk about him because he's decided that he is going to give arms and missiles to Ukraine, maybe for 50 days, and then he'll be really angry with Putin after those 50 days.
Really angry this time.
Really angry this time. So before we get into this and ask you a few questions about it, but before we get into it, just a big shout out to everyone in the chat. Thanks for sticking with us. We've got Chris C there. We've got Sarah Davis. We've got Diz in the chat as well. Unquiet Badger. Paula Thomas, who's had a frustrating day. Sorry about that, Paula. That really sucks. And we've got One Angry Pagan and David in the chat as well. Blah, blah, CW. And Saz, if you would like to join our wonderful people in the chat, all you need to do is find that wretched little subscribe button. It's not wretched, it's beautiful. Look at that beautiful subscribe button. Give it a press and wait for about a minute, and then you can opine fairly freely to your heart's content in the chat, but be respectful and don't be a troll or we'll get rid of you. Okay, Ollie, so what's happened now with Ukraine and Russia and Trump?
So this all goes back a couple of
Painful,
weeks.
isn't it?
Let's start at the beginning of this to understand this mess. So this all starts with the announcement by Pete Hegseth that the weapon shipments to Ukraine are stopping. And everyone was like, oh, okay, these weapon shipments are stopping. A lot of this stuff is authorized by Congress. You can't do that, essentially. To which then all of a sudden Trump turns around and goes, oh, I never said that. I never said that.
Oh, never done it.
That was all Pete Hegseth. So he threw Hegseth under the bus on this for this decision. We still don't know the reason why he made it, how he called it, or how he sort of got away with it. But
yeah,
essentially, the weapons sort of got back on track.
Yeah, sort of.
Then,
can I just interrupt? Can I just interrupt? So we just keep that in your mind. Weapons back on track. Chris C, thank you for the super chat. Please don't discuss Trump. Had enough last night. Yes, me too. This is top of the show. We're gonna change the subject very quickly, aren't we, Ollie? After this. So anyway, back to go on.
But yeah, this is something that's going to have big consequences, unfortunately. So this is something I know we don't want to talk about him, but when he does,
do you know what, Ollie? I'm just looking forward to the big, beautiful day. The day that it happens. The day that it happens.
Just pray for that cheeseburger. That's all we can say.
I want Lin-Manuel Miranda to write a version, or we change the lyrics of the room where it happens, and it's going to be the day that it happens. And it'd be
what I would love? I want Lin-Manuel. I can't even say
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I would love him to do a musical.
No.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine just how insane that musical would be?
Yeah. Paula, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. Extra topic: the 7 billion. 7 billion. We know it's 2 billion, but it could be as much as 7 billion pounds spent by the Tories to keep a data leak out of the news. This is all about Afghanistan. We'll get on to that later.
Yeah, we'll get on to that later.
Thanks very much for that. But yeah. Anyway, Ollie, sorry, as you were saying, let's get this over with.
So this, I think Trump felt a bit done in by this, but he's been calling back and forth between him and Putin, saying, "Hey, you're going to have a ceasefire. You're going to stop these weapons." And basically, during this time where these weapons were paused, Putin launched one of the, again, we often say this, but the largest attack on Kyiv during this war.
Yeah.
So this somewhat seems to have jolted Trump finally maybe into some sort of action, because there's sort of two things being announced. The first of all is this weapons package. Now, this is about a $10 billion weapons package that is going to Ukraine. Now, technically, how this is working out is we Europeans are buying these weapons from America to then replace our current stock to then send it on to Ukraine. Now, for those of you familiar with any of these Ukraine weapons programs that have been going on, you will probably think, hold on, stop and think a moment, because yes, you have heard this before. This is the exact same weapons program that has been done to help support Ukraine. And it's been announced as this brand new thing that Trump's doing to help Ukraine.
Stop me if you think you've heard this one before. Sorry, won't do Marvel impressions anymore because he's a cunt. Anyway, he's not a very nice person. Anyway, so yes, so this is just Trump repackaged. He's a master of manipulation. You know, he just
right, yeah.
You know, gotta give him that. So,
however, what did come out during this as well is that he's apparently asked Zelensky to do more strikes on Moscow, and he said, "Oh, what weapons do you need?" Now that'll be interesting. That'll be very interesting if that comes up, and
lots of drones.
Ukrainians get more missiles and stuff like that to start shooting further into like targets in Russia. I think that will have a very big effect on like Russian morale. You know, certainly weaken Putin quite a bit on that front if all those things start going through. The other thing that of course happened was the ceasefire. If there wasn't a ceasefire in 50 days, Trump is threatening like 100% secondary tariffs, not only on Russia,
but on China,
but on China and India as well,
for buying stuff from Russia.
Most of that is oil, because especially China, Russia, during all this war, they have been buying oil from Russia at knockdown prices.
I'm going to try a thing to get people to call it foreign slime. Instead of calling it oil, from now on, we're going to call it foreign slime. Because it just sounds better, doesn't it? Like, who wants to put foreign slime in their car? Yeah. 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 Who wants to heat the house with foreign slime? It's probably a little bit xenophobic, though, isn't it? To call it. Anyway, but so that's shit, isn't it? Well, I mean, so it's 50 days, isn't it? That Putin has to do what? I don't know. Stop bombing. So he's got 50 days of bombing. Month and a half, bomb the shit out of them. That's great, and then you have to stop.
What, end of September? I think that would take us to, I believe, something like that. So, well, we'll see what happens. The Russian response to this has been, Lavrov has basically come out and just said, just laughed in Trump's face and just gone, haha, we've seen all this before. We've had 100 days, 10 days, etc. We've seen all this before. Basically, once again, laughing in Trump's face. Now, the big thing will Trump mean all this? Will he actually follow through on really giving them, the weapons to really, start striking deep into not only Russia, but Ukrainians have proved they can already do that. But if they get these missiles, if they get some more sort of air defenses, all of a sudden, once again, as the Ukrainians have proven time and time again, when you give them the stuff they need, they can get the job done. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on this. Another thing that's been announced is Sweden also heavily now going to start getting involved, apparently, in this. So they are going to ramp up their weapons production to help Ukraine. Germany is announced it might start looking again at conscription.
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Don't know if yeah, don't know if you saw that
Didn't see
announced
that. That one passed me
sort
by.
of end of last week.
Right.
There was this announcement about um they might have to start re-examining and re-looking at conscription in Germany.
Mm.
How serious they are about that, I don't know. I really don't know. Um, we'll see. This could be a similar conversation they had a couple of what probably like a year ago or so now. Germany was like, should we get our own nukes? Should we actually, become a nuclear power ourselves? And it sort of was talked about initially, but it never really went anywhere
Yeah.
as far as the talks in sort of Germany were concerned. I think it was more uh, just a question that someone asked, I think quite seriously, but they never really went anywhere. Um, Other than that, I think a lot of this stuff again is, I think, good in a way. I think if these secondary sanctions do start, I think this will put pressure
Mm.
on India. I think it will put pressure on China, because if they can start going, hey, Putin, you need to end this,
Yeah.
then that helps put pressure again to end this war as well.
Absolutely.
But if the Ukrainians start getting more weapons and stuff and um, start to destroy more oil depots and things like that, then that is going to put a lot of pressure on the Russian economy, which again isn't the best in shape at the moment.
No.
There's a lot of rumors now that their inflation is a lot higher than they are saying they are. Um, so that could be interesting if that stuff starts to go a bit wrong.
It's all got a bit wrong.
It's
It's
all
all
gone a
got
bit
a bit
wrong.
wrong.
Bit
Bloody
Pete
hell,
Tong.
mate. Oh, anyway, can we stop talking about Trump now?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there wasn't a lot of Trump in that. There was a lot more sort of Russia and Ukraine and a little bit of India and China.
Yeah.
So,
Like I say, watch what happens over the next couple of days. Over the next 50 days, watch to see if China or India um start to speak out of this, because in China in particular, for the past sort of week or so, has started to look at, say, hey, we'll be a third party go between you if you want. Start to trying to offer that. There's a lot of stuff saying as well that's come out in the past couple of weeks that they actually want the war in Ukraine to sort of continue, because if sort of America now has to sort of turn away from the war in Ukraine, that they will have to now turn back into the sort of the Asia Pacific, where they will start sort of focusing on China. So they sort of don't want to go and do that either. So we'll see where China lands on this. They obviously don't want more tariffs, because again, that's bad for our economy. India as well won't want tariffs on its economy either. So watch what they do.
yeah.
Watch what they do over the next what 49, 50 days at this point, and see what happens.
Well,
But
we'll be
hopefully they'll
keeping
put
an eye on it
pressure.
here on Geoscope, won't we? What a time to be alive. Anyway,
Oh,
so moving on. We've got this data leak. Should we talk a little bit about this? I mean, this is more British news, but I suppose it's got, a foreign dimension.
yeah,
in
international
that
implications. Yeah.
it is Afghanistan. So, £2 billion have been spent because of an official's mistake when they accidentally leaked the names of 19,000 Afghans. Oh no, sorry, no. More than 33,000 Afghans. Personal information was released in error by a defence official, and the Tory government spent 2 billion of your Earth pounds covering it up. I mean, what is even happening right now? How many crimes are these people going to get away with? None of them are going to jail, are they?
No. This is just a massive data breach, honestly, and it's one of those things of, it shouldn't have happened in the first place. As always, I don't
As
think
always.
we've found out about how Oh no, he was accidentally sent, wasn't it? So we know.
Accidentally, yeah.
But I think we've got to find out more. Okay, well, this was,
But they're not saying who it was. They're not going to mention. They're not going to say any names because they all went to school together. It's an old school chum, and he's probably got photos and stuff of someone doing something naughty. Just want to bring in the chat a little bit before we go on. Kate Smith says, if Trump sacked all the federal workers who worked on Russian sanctions, asset freezing, etc., who would be enforcing these new sanctions? Which is a good question.
Yeah.
We've also got Trump always tacos out. Yeah. Trump always chickens out. Michael Warner putting a chicken leg and a chicken alternatively in the emoji form. Attila is saying taco 49 days and counting. Yeah, he will chicken out. I think that China and India will have a phone call tonight. Xi will ring up Modi or the other way around, and they'll just say he won't do it. He won't do it. He'll probably forget. I mean, it's 29 days away. That's a long time for someone who's obviously, be demented. So, I think that, there's a good chance that it's good. It's good in a way because it means that now weapons are going to start moving again after them putting all these, blocks in the way. But yeah, this story that's just broken about, it broke this morning, didn't it? On LBC. I think it was LBC who broke it. But this era of just biblical proportions. I think it was 19,000 Afghans and their families, so that's what brings it up to 33,000 people. And the information about it came out on Facebook. Really, really not good. So Healy said,
especially as it's again, it's all to do with what could happen to these people. It's all about reprisals at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And this is something that a lot of people, when Afghanistan fell, a lot of people said how many people were actually left that didn't get out. I think there's still a lot of people there that are still trying to get out now, and it's.
So this is what John Healy, our defence secretary, he made a sincere apology today in Parliament. And he said, members of the House, including you, Mr. Speaker, and myself, have been subject to this super injunction. It is unprecedented, and to be clear, the court has always recognised the parliamentary privilege of proceedings in this House, and ministers decided not to tell parliamentarians at an earlier stage about the data incident, as the widespread publicity would increase the risk of the Taliban obtaining the data set. So that actually sounds like a good reason to not, say anything. He said that the leaked spreadsheet also included details of MPs, senior military officers, and government officials. Jesus Christ. This official mistakenly believed they were sending the names of 150 applicants for the visa scheme, the Afghan visa scheme. However, the spreadsheet in fact contained personal information associated to 18,714 Afghans who had either applied to the ex gratia or the ARAP scheme on or before 7th of January 2022. It contained the names and contact details of applicants, and in some instances, information relating to applicants' family members, and in a small number of cases, the names of members of parliament, senior military officials, and government officials who were noted as supporting the application. This was, putting it mildly, a serious departmental error. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
That's like when that's like when Elon spaceships
serious.
blow up and they call it like an unconscious decoupling or something. It's like, I think it's the word you're looking for, mate, is a clusterfuck. Yep. They have so to date, there were 900 ARR principals in Britain or in transit, together with 3,600 family members at a cost of £400 million. Man, that is just... I mean, imagine making a mistake and it ended up costing the British taxpayer £2 billion. Oops.
Yep. Whoopsie-doopsie.
Whoopsie-doopsie. That is just madness. Let's see what people got to say about this. I think it was a news agent, and then he was interviewed on LBC, Lewis Goodall. Yeah, I saw the interview with Lewis. On LBC, that's why I thought it was on that. Graham, Germany never scrapped Bundeswehr, national service. They just changed it to doing national service in other areas. Oh, that's interesting. Michael says he's chickened out already and U-turned and said Ukraine should not attack Moscow. So he's changed his mind from, I don't know,
already
3 o'clock. Did you see him at the World Cup? No, sorry, the soccer, what's it called? The Club World Cup. Did you see this?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, mate, he turned up on the pitch, and then he pocketed he got in the photo with the rest of them, right? Well, you know the team, Chelsea won, and they're holding up the cup. You know the picture that they get where they're all holding up the cup and all the confetti goes off and the fireworks. And Trump was trying to get into the picture. And it was just, and then the head of Infantino, is the head of FIFA, had to sort of pull him to the back of the picture, but he's still in there. And he not only pocketed a winner's medal, he was just walking and put it in his pocket. He also took home the trophy, and the club that won the trophy are going to have to make do with a replica. I feel like this is something that should be in the Onion or something. Like, how can this really?
Yeah, how it's
yeah. Reagan Elite says they edited
make
Trump
that
out of
musical.
all the photos. Yeah, they all booed him as well. I mean, it was a pretty sparsely attended match. I believe, I've been told that tickets for this final were going for like, I don't know, $5 or something at the end because they were desperate to sell them. Nobody wants to travel to America to watch football. People don't watch football that much in real football in America. I think they call it like Suka or something. They've got a special name for it, but they don't really know what it is. They certainly don't see it as a beautiful game. And no one turned up because it was in America, and no one wants to go to America because they don't want to get strip searched. I don't want them to, check out my cavities for drugs.
About the guy from Ireland?
No.
The thing came out recently, yeah. So there was a guy from Ireland, and he accidentally overstayed his, I think, tourist visa by 3 days. Bastard. And got arrested by ICE.
Wow. Well, that'll learn him. And so what happens now?
He's currently in a prison, ICE prison, waiting to be deported.
Well, I mean, let's go near there because there's Canadian wildfires going on at the moment, and the Republicans who just voted for Trump's pro-pollution, pro-foreign slime or necrotic slime energy bill, they're complaining about wildfire smoke from Canada, and there's a letter that's been sent from like Montana and Wisconsin, I think, blaming Canada for suffocating smoke. I just I can't. I just the blaming of Canada for this planetary crisis that America more than any other country in the world has contributed to by forcing petrol cars on everyone. And demanding that all oil is traded in dollars. I mean, I know Britain is not innocent in this whole thing by any stretch of the imagination, but at least we closed down all our coal mines. Trump's trying to reopen he's trying to reopen the coal mines over there, isn't he? Which is mind blowing.
They've still got coal mines over in America. It's still a big-ish industry, but opening more.
So, have you got any more stories? You usually got a list, haven't you?
I've got a fun-ish story.
Okay, because all my stories are not fun. So let's do a fun story.
So this I think is kind of interesting because I think a lot of people will be sympathizing with this. So you'll obviously have seen a lot of news very recently about Spain, and especially about Spanish people complaining and protesting about over tourism.
Yeah.
Over in Spain. Now, this isn't about the stuff that's going on in Spain. This is about the stuff that's going all the way on over, believe it or not, in Japan.
Oh, right.
So,
okay.
Japan currently right now, as of last year, It welcomed over 36 million tourists last year.
Right.
So that may sound like a lot, and it is, but Japan is an interesting situation because after
Mm.
COVID, Japan was one of those places that was absolutely desperate, like absolutely desperate to try and open post pandemic. I remember I had tickets and I literally decided not to go, and a week later they opened up, and I was like,
Wow.
frustrating. But they were absolutely desperate for tourists.
Yeah.
Tourism in Japan is still like a big money maker for them. It brings a lot of money into their economy, local economies as well. But one of the big things that's been happening is they've been having a lot of problems with um, problem tourists. Most notably, they've been live streamers.
Oh, me.
Yeah, well, yeah, IRL live streamers that wander around Japan and basically cause trouble. Um, so this has been one of those things that's been causing a lot of issue in Japan.
Yeah.
So now they are starting up not just a new governmental body to have a look at over tourism, which okay, over tourism,
Yeah.
something that we should look at because it can cause problems.
Yeah.
So fine with that, but another arm of this new ministry they are creating is it will be responsible for the punishment of unruly tourists,
Yeah.
as they are being called.
Unruly tourists. I love being
Yeah.
an unruly tourist. When I visited Libya in 2010, it was when Gaddafi was still on the throne and in his tent, and he made it so that British tourists or tourists from other countries had to be had to basically have a chaperone in case we stole stuff. Which looking at the British
Yeah.
Museum, I can kind of understand. But yeah, I'm a bit worried about traveling now more than I used to be, just because everyone's being a bit mad about it. There used to be quite, there was always a grey area. If you couldn't get a visa for somewhere, you could just go up to the border point and say, "Can I give you 10 quid and come in for a couple of hours?" And they'll go, "Yeah, sure, leave your backpack here," and in you go. But the sort of people being cool about that stuff, it seems mad to me, because in the wake of 9/11, I went traveling around the world in 2002, and it was honestly easier to get around the world the year after 9/11 happened. I mean, I started the journey in January 2002, so it was just a few months, 3 months after 9/11. It was a lot easier to get around the world than it is now because of all this xenophobia, right-wing, reactionary freaking out. I think some people are talking in the chat as well, something that I'm going to cover extensively tomorrow. When we're talking about British politics, there was a new relationships and sex education guidance today that was published. Did you say anything about this, Ollie?
No, I haven't seen this today.
Rachel posted in our in our politics social chat. It will restrict schools from using materials that encourage pupils to question their gender. It teaches children the laws about biological sex, and it removes all references to the word transgender. It's Section 28. Section 28 is back, and it looks like Labour are bringing it in. Last time it was the Tories who brought it in under Thatcher, and it was Labour that got rid of it eventually. This time, it looks like Labour's like, yeah, okay, we're all for this, transphobia. That'll work out really great for us. It's not going to kick in till 2026, and not till next year. But it's really, really grim. I'm going to just put a link into the chat if anyone wants to just go and have a read of. There's a Blue Sky post by Queer as AF, and they've broken it down for this publication. Specifically, it tells schools not to teach that everyone has a gender identity. And it must avoid saying that social transition is a simple solution to feelings of distress or discomfort. and the Supreme Court ruling from a couple of weeks ago can be taught to children. And there's only one reference to the word transgender. Otherwise, all references are to gender questioning or the equality law protected characteristic of gender reassignment. Wow. It's an they say on it that it's an absolute travesty, and it absolutely is. I'm going to be wearing my Protect the Dolls t-shirt when I go to the Labour Party conference, and I'll be having lots of conversations about this with people in Labour who should well know better. They really should. Okay, so do you want to do another story, or should I do another story? If you got a fun one, do the fun one.
I've got another one about Millet.
Go on. Oh God.
So yeah,
the scourge of Buenos Aires. So this is the guy in charge of Argentina.
Yeah, I think we both question like how long's Millet gonna last.
Yes,
and we've questioned this numerous times. I didn't see him lasting long. I'm surprised he's lasted this long, to be honest. But I really think it's because he's gotten really lucky in the economy stuff.
Yes,
I think that is it. I think he is so far he has been lucky, and he is nothing so far has gone wrong. Even though if you look at a lot of economists are saying about Argentina, they're like, yeah, basically all he's done is planted a bomb, and sooner or later that bomb could go off, and it could be a massive detriment to the Argentine economy. But recently, he's been going after pensions in Argentina. And this now has massively upset his VP.
Yes. Who told him to grow up, was it? Was that the expression, grow up?
Yeah. So they got into a big row over this. A really big row over this. And they've started arguing very, very publicly about this. And to be honest, your president and vice president arguing publicly, it isn't a very good sign that things are well in your administration.
But is it not like the old American system before they changed it, where the vice president is actually from the other party, from the opposing party? Is that the way they have it in Argentina? Or is this?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but if you've got your vice president that's like, yeah, come on, you need to stop being, you need to grow up a bit, stop this nonsense that you're on about. We'll see how this develops, but could be interesting for Millet if he now has more problems, because obviously he's in a coalition with the other, well, the Conservative Party that are there, and they're now becoming a little bit unsure on him from the sound of this.
He called her a traitor, a demagogue, and stupid in economic terms.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like they put the worst children in charge. They put the kids, the bad kids from Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. That they put them in charge of the world. Paula, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. No wonder the Corbyn party is tied with Labour in a new poll. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, because if Labour go down this route, this very, very dangerous route of entering into these stupid fucking culture wars that were just invented by Tufton Street to keep us all fighting amongst ourselves, then, I mean, do they deserve to continue being in charge? I don't know. I'm just a bit upset about it all, to be honest with you. But yeah, there's other shit going on in the world. There's been a massacre in Sudan, in North Kordofan. The RSF, this is the Rapid Support Forces, the government forces, have targeted villages with no military presence, and they've killed nearly 300 civilians. Links here to previous ethnic cleansing campaigns, the Darfur region, famously. And yeah, it's a humanitarian disaster, and it's got a complete lack of media coverage. Hardly anyone's talking about it, because it's Sudan. Is Sudan particularly strategically important? No. Do we rely on its foreign slime to put in our cars, to drive our cars around? No.
Yep.
Is it our responsibility? I would say, yeah, Because it was part of the British Empire. The cartoon was taken by Lord Kitchener of, I Want You to Join the Army fame. That guy from that poster, Lord Kitchener, he was the guy who was Kitchener of cartoon. He went down there and he killed a bunch of people. Thanks for that. So yeah, there's been hardly any international response to this, and Sudan has been in a state of turmoil now for decades, with no end in sight, and it's something that I wish more parliamentarians in this country would take seriously and say, okay, we need to do something about this. Or if the Commonwealth had a bit more oomph to it, we could say, let's get some sanctions going, or have a word with the people in charge. But we don't. Nvidia's just got a US approval to sell their AI chips to China.
Oh, at last.
So Nvidia's up 5%. It's got over $4 trillion now. 4 trillion with a TR, trillion.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's been a little quiet donation on the side.
Yeah,
from Nvidia.
And what was the other thing? Oh, Slovakia. Fucking what's going on?
Yeah. Oh, so
do you want to do this one?
We've got to explain this Slovakia stuff. So the EU's just been doing another big round of Russian sanctions. I think it's like the 18th package of sanctions that they're going to sort of announce. And one of the big things that they wanted to do was they wanted to put a permanent embargo on all Russian oil being bought by EU countries by 2028, I believe. Now, this is actually a big problem for a country like Slovakia, because they are landlocked. They don't have access to anywhere, and they are pretty much dependent on Russian oil. Now, I think this is an area where the EU could easily come in and say, hey, look, we're going to help develop some energy routes, because we've seen this done in the Baltic states.
Yeah.
Just a couple of years ago, the Baltic states were heavily dependent on Russian energy, Russian oil, Russian gas. However, thanks to EU investments in money, they have now been able to basically fully turn off, just I think at the start of this year, they were just fully able to finally turn off their energy dependency on Russia. Yeah. So if we can do it with the Baltic states, then I think this is something that we could get with Slovakia to be on board, and maybe a couple of these other countries as well that are also still quite dependent on Russian oil and gas.
Yeah.
This is something I think that we should do, and I think it's, again, could be leading to sort of a really big green energy revolution.
Well, this is the hope, isn't it?
Europe,
like, some goods can come out of the absolute carnage and mess that is what the Russians have done in Ukraine, because they are forcing us away from their foreign slime to other, and toxic gas. Toxic foreign gas. What do you do when you cook on? Our toxic foreign gas. Oh, cool. Is it toxic? Yeah, it'll fucking kill you if you breathe it in.
Trump farts.
Trump farts. Toxic fucking. The 20th century, right? Was there anything that we did in the 20th century that wasn't bad for our health? Everyone smoked.
Mm.
Cocaine,
everything.
Everyone was drunk all the time. You had a car crash in the 1960s. Both the drivers would be drunk. The police officer will turn up to take notes, would be drunk. The court judge, the magistrate overseeing the case would be drunk. The jurors would all be drunk. Like, every single business went out for like lunch, and they had a drink. They had a pint at lunch. It was just that was just the norm. All the miners were drunk. All the bankers were drunk. The drivers were very drunk. And it was just, and then you had lead in everything. Everything was made of lead. You had petrol. Everything was made, running on petrol or filthy diesel with particulates. Everything we built was built out of asbestos. Every we put in air conditioning units into all these
the wonder material,
asbestos. Asbestos buildings with air conditioning units that got Legionnaire's disease in them.
You can actually go back and you can actually see like the posters and marketing materials for like asbestos, and it was
the wonder material of its day. Yeah, because it didn't catch on fire. Yeah, but it did give you cancer. And then you have Las Vegas was Atomic City. That Las Vegas started so people could go. That's why it's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of a desert because people would go there and watch the nuclear tests. So they could go and watch the nuclear explosions from a safe distance in Nevada. Oh my God. What a time. What a time to be alive. But yeah, I am hoping that this will be will push, well as the US is pushing back towards fossil fuels. I'm hoping this is going to push us more and more away from it and force us away from it. Now, the European Union did not approve the 18th Russian sanctions package today, but they're hoping maybe they might be able to pass it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hoping a deal will be reached on Wednesday. The ball's in Slovakia's court. Slovakia has been blocking the EU's latest sanctions package until its concerns are addressed over a separate EU proposal to phase out imports of Russian gas by the 1st of January 2028, which is something they can't do. And, I've got a little bit of sympathy for the fact that they can't do it. I don't think they're just being twats about it. Like
I say, it's something they depend on. So you can't, we obviously understand why, cutting off Russian oil and gas is important. But for a country like Slovakia that sort of depends on it, they can't just turn the tap off.
Yeah.
This may be something where, again, the EU has to look into investments because, there are a couple of countries. Hungary is, again, another one, but Hungary is, again, another interesting case of where a lot of EU money has been embezzled by Orban's son. Something else which I think we should probably mention at some point: Orban possibly losing the next election.
Oh yes. So Orban has been in charge for over half the time that Hungary's been a democracy. So Hungary was behind the Iron Curtain. They were basically ruled from Moscow for many, many years, as was Poland, East Germany, Czechoslovakia. And they only really became democratic in 1990, and Orban has absolutely dominated the last couple of decades of life in that country, in Hungary. And he is a monster. He is an absolute shitbag. And I think more and more people are waking up to the fact. It's taken a while, but they're waking up to the fact. That's one thing that gives me a little bit of hope as well, the fact that Trump is so old. Trump's going to be 80 next year. He's not going to last for another 20 years. You know?
Remember, this is what happened in Poland as well. You had the PiS party, the Peace and Justice Party. They were ruling in Poland for a long time. And then people just started to realize, actually, these are the people who are saying, oh my God, under us, everything will be so fantastic and great and wonderful. And then you look at these reform councils in Kent in particular at the moment, and they're not great. They're not doing anything, you know.
Yeah.
And it's only a matter of time till problems start occurring. Yeah. And the other thing I would say to this is, because a lot of people might go, oh, they're doing nothing. That sounds great, Elliot. At least they're not doing nothing. That also causes problems.
Yeah.
Them not doing nothing. Because you need these people to be making decisions. You need them to be running committees. You need them to be making decisions. That's what they are elected for, and they are not making those decisions. Yeah. So this, in turn, brings it with it more problems. And I think, again, people will just really end up seeing the, just as you did in Poland, they're not as good as they say they are.
No. I think people are waking up to that. Darren, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I did a placement year at a nuclear power station in 1995. Friday lunch, you'll find all the workers from the control room having 4 to 5 pints during lunch. What a time to be alive. Oliver's saying he looks proper miserable all the time, that Orban. Yeah, he does. So guess what happens tomorrow, Ollie? Here in Durham.
Oh, is it? I don't know actually. What ancient tradition is it? The cheese rolling?
It's worse than that.
Worse than the cheese rolling.
Yeah. It's not. It's worse than the pit cleaning.
Oh, is a national? Is it a big council meeting of some sort?
Yes, it is the first full council meeting.
Oh, the first full council meeting. Oh,
because we had the elections on May the 1st, and we thought we'd wait all this time for the council to actually get together and have a conversation. It's taken 2.5 months, is it? Is that? Yeah, 2.5 months. So May, June, we're halfway through July. Yeah, 2.5 months, and they've finally got around to having having a meeting. It starts at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So I'm going to be carrying it on the morning show. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to make new graphics for Reform Watch. We've talked about this, haven't we, Ollie, about doing a show. It's like just seeing what we fuck up to. Yeah. I've been invited to go to the council meeting tomorrow, or go outside it with me Broker's F flag from Glastonbury, and I'm very tempted to go and do it, but I really need to do my show. So it's the council meeting will be streamed on YouTube, and I'll be dipping in and out of that during Morning Brew tomorrow. So please join us for that. It's going to be appalling. We have something like 73 councillors, and 62 of them are refuckers. It's pretty grim. I am so lucky where I am. We have Greens, so I've got a couple of Green councillors.
Did you see what happened on, which council was it now? They had another council meeting. And whenever they got asked questions, they're saying the exact same answer every single time. They got asked a question, we are doing everything we can in our legal power to represent people. We are left with the mess of like the former administration. We are still trying to get, and they were basically just doing the exact same riff on that entire question.
I'm Malibu Stacy, but you can call me. Thinking makes my head hurt. Let's go shopping.
Yeah.
Maths is hard. Or math is hard, I suppose.
Yeah, expect them to have, I'd say, some stock answers. I expect them to have some stock answers that they
stock answers and Waterman
on repeat.
That's a bit before your time, isn't it? So anyway, we got any more stories? We've got about 12 minutes left before we're going to do a raid on Max's channel. So everyone watching this,
I do think this is another thing that should be talked about. Actually, the UK head of the police is actually becoming increasingly worried that UK children are being recruited by Russia and Iran to perform hybrid warfare.
Oh.
To do acts of sabotage.
Oh. Okay, that's a bit grim.
That is very bad. But this is something that we should be, I think, people should be aware of. People need to be, I think, more conscious than ever, because this is a case where they've tried this in Ukraine, where, hey kid, here's this backpack, go take it to this location, phone this number when you get there, and you'll get 100 quid, something like that. Of course, they've done it, and what happened? It explodes.
Yeah.
So this is something that we've seen happening across Europe, and Poland's recently just had another incident, very, very recently, where again they are suspecting this is linked to sabotage. And I think there is now, an increasing more case to be more worried now about Russia trying to hire like disgruntled people from, different backgrounds, different, walks of life. Basically, oh, hey, just go, set fire to this field, or hey, there's this factory here, just go set fire to it, and you'll gain some money from it.
Yeah.
This seems to be what they're trying to do now in hybrid war.
Yes. This is all predicted years ago.
Yeah. And they are trying to get kids to do it as well, which is even more worrying.
It's so sinister. And it's all tied in with the toxic manosphere. Like all that shit is so out of the Russian playbook. They've got a certain word for it, haven't they? About hybrid war. It's their version of hybrid war. And yeah, they've been flooding message boards for years. They've been flooding Reddit. They've been flooding social media as it came along. And it doesn't seem like anyone's keeping them in check. MI6 are absolutely obsessed with foreign criminals doing things. Obsessed with Islamist terrorists doing bad shit, which is, fair enough. Keep an eye on that. But they've completely dropped the ball when it comes to Russians interfering in our goddamn democracy. It's just, it's.
I mean, this is, again, last week, right? Last week, 5 men were convicted of an arson attack on a London warehouse, which was containing equipment for Ukraine. Yeah, they were convicted last week. And we talked about that. And they're all hired via Telegram.
Yeah.
So, this is something that we should be quite concerned about. Really quite concerned about. On that. It's because it only takes someone lucky like once.
Yeah.
It's really lucky once, and it could cause a huge fire, and that could claim people's lives. And it was just some random kids. I have said before, I seen a lot of the Palestinian action stuff. I did a video about this. I think a lot of the stuff that they were targeting and where they were getting their information from is highly suspect, because these were military installations. Yes, they were making some weapons, but they attacked they sabotaged a warehouse that was also making drones to go to Ukraine. It was like the third biggest factory we had in the UK making drones to go to Ukraine. Highly suspicious that you happen to target that as well.
Yeah.
And target also to airfields where Ukrainian pilots were training.
Yeah.
Like I would say this now: if you are in that movement, in that Palestinian movement, I would question where people are telling you, where did you get this information from? Who gave you this information? How did you get it? Have you actually verified this information? I would be very worried about your movement being infiltrated, because you are perfect targets to be infiltrated by this type of thing.
Yeah.
I would be questioning everything.
Yeah.
I genuinely, seriously would.
What a time to be alive. We've got 6 minutes left. A couple more stories just to quickly drop in on. There's been sectarian clashes in Syria between Druze and Bedouin fighters. That's killed at least 37. Violence sparked by kidnapping on both sides. Nigeria is mourning Muhammadu Buhari, who is a soldier turned Democrat. The oldest marathon runner dies at the age of 114 in a road accident.
No.
You weren't expecting that, were you?
No, 114. No.
The thing is, there's a thing about, because of World War II, a lot of records of when people were actually born were lost. So anyone who's claiming to be over 100 years old at this point, we might not have a decent record of whether they are actually over 100 years old or they're just kind of dead old and they've lost count, as you would do, as you approach your 80s and 90s, I'm sure. New Caledonia. So I was boring my usual viewers to death the other day talking about in a couple of years' time. I'm going to be going down to Bougainville, which is going to become the newest country in the world on September the 1st, 2027. So I'm going to be doing the Odyssey, Bougainville or bust. And I was just looking at the ferry services over to there, and there are none. And the last time there was a ferry service, which used to go over to New Britain from the city of Ley in Papua New Guinea, it sank in 2012. Good job I wasn't on it, because I was literally there a few months earlier. Phew, dodged a bullet there. I don't know if there's going to be an easy way. Anyway, New Caledonia, which is an island in the Pacific. It's kind of halfway between Australia and Vanuatu. Or if you don't know where that is, it's on the way to Fiji. Or I suppose if you think of the distance between Australia and New Zealand, it's probably about a quarter of the distance between those two. It's a French possession, but the good people of New Caledonia, which I've been to, don't particularly like being French necessarily, which is kind of cool because there's other islands where they absolutely love being French, like Mayotte and Martinique and Reunion Islands, where they want to be very, very French, like more French than French. But New Caledonia, quite a few people, Polynesian descent, who don't want the French there. So New Caledonia is going to be granted new status within France as part of a historic agreement. So they're bringing it on board. I think it's actually going to become a department or a special department of France. So that's cool in a couple of ways. More self-determination for New Caledonia, and also more money for New Caledonia, which is nice. But also it means I don't have to go there when it becomes independent at the end of the decade. And we've got the stuff about Trump's new tariffs on the EU, Mexico, China, India.
30% now. Yeah.
Anyone who just doesn't like the look of. So there you go. It's just our lovely global feedback loop of power and consequence. And the fact that the people with power don't seem to face any fucking consequences for anything they do, Ollie. Anyway, we've got a few minutes left. Have you got any more stories? Have you got anything else that's been going on this week?
Last week we talked about the Chinese decided to have a bit of a jape, have a bit of a jolly, and decided to target a German vessel with a laser guider pointer.
Oh,
so yeah, that was fun. I bet that tightened a couple of people's sphincters on that boat when that came through.
So when you say China, do you just mean some kids in China just playing a prank, or
no? The China actually did this. The Germans are claiming that it was a Chinese plane that lit them up with this pointer, and they were like, what are you doing? That's like, a precursor to an attack of some sort. So immediately this started a bit of a diplomatic spat. China's refused any acknowledgement. They've said that we didn't do this at all. This never happened. That these German sailors were wrong. They must have been drunk. The Chinese ambassador said. So this is just a bit of a spat that's happened in the Red Sea. I don't think anything's major going to come of it. I think it's just going to be, why did you target us? We don't know why we targeted you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit of a Don't do that, China. Don't do that.
Please don't. Please don't. I'm just looking up about New Caledonia. No, it's going to be declared a state, but it will remain French. So it's not quite separatism. It's not quite separating. Sorry, but it's been rocked by deadly separatist violence last year in New Caledonia. But there's been a historic agreement, according to Emmanuel Macron, and so there should be a new. It's going to be called the State of New Caledonia. Should be created, but they say new. Was it New Caledonia? Under the deal, the state of New Caledonia will be enshrined in France's constitution, and other countries could recognise such a state. So it's a bit murky. That is it going to get a seat at the UN? Maybe it will have to go there. Oh well, that's not a problem. I know how to get to New Caledonia. I've already done it once before. I can do it again. Never been to Bougainville though. I think it might be a bit more difficult than I'm kind of making out. Back in my day, when I was traveling. Back in my day, I'm so old now. 15 years
Back in my day, when I was traveling on the ships.
I was traveling on the ships, yeah. You could travel through Iran. You could travel through Russia if you wanted. You can't do that now. Can't do that. I'll have to go through Azerbaijan, over the Caspian Sea to Kazakhstan. That's the way I'm going to do it. And then get to China, and then down through Southeast Asia to Papua New Guinea, and then to Bougainville. But yeah, I might have to do. Maybe I'll double up. Maybe I'll go to the state of New Caledonia as well. Both chambers of France's parliament are to meet in the fourth quarter of this year to vote on approving the deal, which is then submitted to the New Caledonians for a referendum vote in 2026. So it's a little bit of a fudge by the looks of things. We're going to say it's a state. It's a French state. It's a state, but it's French. France doesn't have states; it has departments. So I don't really understand how that's going to work. But anyway, Ollie, we're going to go for a raid. Do you want to come for a raid? Should we go and raid?
Oh, go on then.
Yeah, we're going to go raid. If you want to join us, we're going to go and have a little bit of a raid on Maximilian's live stream, which is just starting now over on Max's channel. You don't have to do anything. Stay where you are. I just say thank you for watching. Give us a like. We like a like. Give us a like. And then we'll like you for giving us a like. So give us a like on the way out. And I'll be back, like I say, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning with a special edition of Morning Brew, Refuck Watch. And we're going to be watching the first all-council meeting of the gobshites who have taken over Durham City Council.
Lucky you. Have they actually put out an agenda?
No, not that I've seen.
What are they going to be talking about?
I don't know. I'll have a chat with my councillor friends because they're going to be there. But yes, it's all it's all fun and games until Refuck take over, and then it's not. So listen, I hope everyone's doing all right. I hope you. We'll leave you with the dulcet tones of Maximilien Robespierre. He doesn't sound very French. I feel with Max, yeah, because he's got a very French name, hasn't he? So there you go. So thanks you very much for watching. Thanks for the super chats and thanks for all the chat and everything. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And until then, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.
Bye.